Bigger than a hell ring, moves like you heard on the decks. Glover hold the court and give the chief no suspect. Politics in the mix, like Gumbo Stewart Rich. Spinning tales from Black Wall Street, real life's the pitch. Doni Glover Show, be more news. Doni Glover Show, be more news. Welcome to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. How you doing, man?
Man, feeling well, man.
What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17, Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out. We fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
That's right.
We got more than we can use. We got more than we can handle ourselves. We try to let it flow. Let it flow to the next person.
Yeah. We're proud of you, man.
Thank you.
And we're proud of your son.
Thank you.
You're watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. This the six hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse, dropping wisdom like Hova. Each word a joke. Doni Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to days. Guiding the narrator, truth runs in veins. Doni Glover Show, be more news. 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 All right, top of the morning to you. First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. All right, waiting on our co-host, but I guess he might be dragging behind a bit. Regine, good morning to you.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
They good. Regine, I've been waiting for 3 weeks to hear you pronounce your full name. Regine Renee
LaBrousse. I could do the whole
wrote for real. He made me practice in front of him. I'm like roll like with that you mix with crabs. No, roll like bro, like go, roll. Like man.
Yeah,
bro, welcome.
We add a lot of special spices to our names.
We do it the way we do it, unapologetically.
Unapologetically, it is what it is. Now deal with it with a smile.
We don't care if you can't pronounce it. You'll be all right. You know?
All right.
Regine, I didn't get a chance to meet you in person, but Corey has bragged so much about you. Ro, I did meet you in person. So let's just get straight to the heart of it. Being from Baltimore, last southern state, Maryland, just before the Mason-Dixon line, I done heard all kinds of jokes from Corey over the years about people from up north. And I get it. But we're not going to do a north versus south thing. But I would love you to educate us. He took me by Al Jackson's Treme Museum.
That's a good one.
And I tell you, there was so much history. I wrote this book back in 2021 on Black Wall Street. A lot of people don't know that the first blacks that made it to Oklahoma came from Florida.
Seminoles.
Yeah. And so I got to digging. And then, of course, in New Orleans, you have the parades that feature the Black Indians. So there's so much I want to talk. I want to talk to you about Black Indians. I want to talk to you about the French. New Orleans. A lot of people don't know had the richest Black people in the country.
That's right.
Free Black people.
Own properties, own businesses, doing it. Involved in politics, in press and media, all of that from the get-go.
Donnie,
Come on, bro.
Did you know the very first Black governor in the United States was a Black man in New Orleans?
So bring it on. I'm taking notes.
His name was PBS Pinchback. PBS Pinchback. He became governor because the governor that was there died, and then he was the lieutenant governor, and he took over. And for about, I think, 90 days, he was governor of the state of Louisiana, and he became the first Black governor in America. And this is not like during civil rights time. This is way before then, you know. And here in Louisiana, especially in South Louisiana, because you do know it's two different Louisianas, right?
Well, they told me there's New Orleans.
That's right. There's New Orleans, and then you got New Louisiana. Yes.
That's my class so far.
And we love them both, but they totally different. You know what I'm saying? But PBS Pinchback, down South Louisiana, we have a term that's called passe blanc. You know, passe blanc means you could pass for white. You know, and PBS Pinchback was actually passe blanc. You know, but a lot of times, America, I really believe that America doesn't give New Orleans the credit that this city deserves as being what I call the culture capital of America. It just is. This is the culture capital of America. A lot of American history is rooted in New Orleans. You know, the food, the music, especially Black history and Black culture. You know, you take New Orleans and Atlanta out of America and we're going to lose Black culture. You know, I'm just going to be real with you. You know, a lot of the culture that we celebrate and claim as American culture, legitimately, is New Orleans culture.
French. Corey took me to, it's a square downtown, and around the square, you can see the French influence, the Spanish influence, and then there was the British influence. But we got to also add in African influence, and I did not know this until my most recent trip. You claim Gullah and Geechee culture.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought it was just on the East Coast, but it touches the Gulf Coast as well. And then
don't forget the Caribbean.
And
I was just gonna say, we have a huge Caribbean culture here too. You know, it's very huge. Even to this day, so New Orleans is separated by water. Technically, we are an island. You know,
that's what they said. Now, what water?
Well, you can't get into New Orleans from any side without going over water. That makes us technically an island. An island geographically is a body of land surrounded by water. On one side of New Orleans is the Mississippi River. On the other side of New Orleans is Lake Pontchartrain. And then right behind us is the Gulf of Mexico. You know, so this is a huge body of land that's sitting right in the middle of all these large bodies of water. You know, so technically we are an island, which is why we became such a necessity to the Caribbean. You know, people were brought here from Puerto Rico and from those areas, you know, and they kind of migrated here, especially during the time of slavery and colonization. You know, but this area right here, the reason you take any island, you take just take Puerto Rico, take Hawaii, take any one of the islands that you're very familiar with. These islands have their own culture. One of the reasons that they have their own culture is because when you're secluded or isolated from everything else, you tend to do things your way. You don't have there's no pressure for you to be like the people on the other side because you're in your own zone, in your own little environment. And so you create your own way of life. New Orleans is that same way. You know, I was in a bar here not too long ago, and it's a bar in a restaurant, and they had the movie Girls Trip on BET. And when I first walked in the bar, I saw the BET logo on the bottom of the screen. But what I saw was, no, Donnie ain't taking phone calls while we on the interview. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a millionaire to do that. You know what I'm saying?
It's probably Corey. Was that Corey?
It is Corey. So,
but I was watching, when I came in, they had the movie Girls Trip playing on BET for some reason. But I didn't realize it was Girls Trip, Regine. I just saw the BET logo on the bottom of the screen. But the part they were showing were people tap dancing and on Bourbon Street, and they were showing the Indians and all of that. And I'm like, okay, what is BET doing in New Orleans? And all of a sudden I see Queen Latifah and Jada Pinkett and Tiffany. I said, oh, it's Girls Trip. But what it made me realize is this culture here in this city is unlike Chicago. It's unlike New York. It is unlike Baltimore. It is unlike Los Angeles. It is very, very unique. Those cities have their own cultures. This is an original, unique culture that is unique to this particular city, that you won't find the things that happen here in other cities. You know, you'll find the big buildings like any other city in all your major cities. You'll find, you know, the typical things you see in large cities in all your large cities. But this unique culture, you just can't copy it. It can't be duplicated. It is really unique to New Orleans.
So one thing, Regine, I gotta do this transition. We've talked about the French. We've touched on French, Spanish, British, Caribbean, African. You represent a piece of New Orleans history that is so essential to Black Wall Street. Something a lot of us have no idea about. And it is the country where the only successful ousting, it was more than an insurrection, it was an ousting of the former European powers. And it takes me straight to, I got a new book coming out that's going to be talking about Burkina Faso. Right now, Ro, over in West Africa, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Francophone countries, they are teaming up, they're working together, and they're ousting the European powers that have had their foot on Black necks for 200-300 years. But Regine, you represent Haiti. Shout out to Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henry Christophe, and there was a Jamaican in there too, Buki Mine, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a Bookman. That's right.
A bookman, man.
Mm-hmm. No, very, very rich history, and I'm definitely blessed. Although New Orleans has always been my home, both of my parents are from Haiti, and they made sure that I knew my Haitian history. So growing up with that Haitian heritage in this rich city of New Orleans, you're absolutely right. There is no other city in the United States like New Orleans. Hands down, you cannot dispute that. And a lot of that, as I've learned more and more over the years, is because of its relationship and shared heritage with Haiti. During the 1790s, when the Haitian Revolution began, which lasted over a decade, you had a huge migration of folks from Haiti to New Orleans that doubled the size of the population and inevitably changed the culture forever. And that culture is still alive. And how I describe that culture is I ain't taking nobody's bullshit culture, and I'm making my way for us. I think that's the most important thing that came out of Haiti to New Orleans until this day. You cannot tell a New Orleanian how to run his or her life. We're founded in the basic principles that we're human, regardless of your skin color. And because of American politics that eventually settled down into New Orleans, race became an issue. But the folks coming out of Haiti, they were white, they were mixed, they were Black. Some were free, some weren't. It was really a mix of all of that. But unlike many other cities in the United States, even those who were still enslaved, it wasn't the same type of slavery. Like folks in New Orleans required basic minimum of humanity and was not settling for less. And this is where sacred spaces continue to evolve, like Congo Square, yes, within Treme. And it wasn't just a Sunday off type thing. It was, okay, Sunday is our day, we're going to worship, but we're also creating our own businesses. And those who were enslaved eventually bought their freedom. That wasn't happening in other places in the United States. But there was this profound demanded respect that was earned. I said, you know what? I will eventually get there, and I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to keep working hard until I get it. And then this is where real places like Treme being the oldest establishment in the United States where people of color owned properties. They owned where they live. They created businesses for the community. And then eventually other things started erupting, like benevolent societies that were led and created by our people of color. White people didn't create that. We created that. And as American politics continued to settle into the city, this is where the divides really came in. This is where racism came in. You have the French Quarter. On the other side of Canal Street, you have the American side. You feel the difference in the neighborhoods. You feel the energy in the French Quarter. You feel it in Treme. You feel it on the other side of Canal Street and other parts of town. Ain't no city do it like New Orleans. There's no doubt.
I want to piggyback on something that she brought up because she's exactly right. First of all, I don't know why, but all my neighbors are Haitian. You know
Well, I need to come to your neighborhood. Where you at?
I'm on the West Bank. I'm on the West Bank in Algiers. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, all of my neighbors are either Haitian or Jamaican. It's a beautiful vibe. My streets smell like weed most of the time, but it's a beautiful vibe. It's a beautiful vibe. I will say there's something she pointed out that I don't think a lot of people realize about New Orleans. We are so unique in our culture that people assume that everybody in New Orleans are people who are just black people. You know, but this city really is, a pun intended, a gumbo. It really is a gumbo. We have a huge Greek community here. We have a huge Jamaican community here. We have a huge Haitian community here. You really can feel, as she say, you can feel that gumbo all over the city in little pockets. But something she pointed out that I think a lot of people don't get, the very first black neighborhood in America is Treme. Treme is the oldest black neighborhood in America, and it's still popping. When I say popping, I mean, it is the heart of jazz music. Jazz music started in the Treme area. You know, it is the heart of New Orleans. You can't have New Orleans without Treme. You hear me? It's like you can't have this city without Treme. Those roots are that deep, and it's still there. There is a street here in New Orleans with 90-something% black on. Hey, young king, how you doing? Yeah.
And his name is Christophe, like King Henry Christophe.
There is a street here in New Orleans. It's called Bayou Road. Bayou Road is full of nothing but black businesses. It's our Black Wall Street, you know, and it is Bayou Road is older than New Orleans. Bayou Road was actually set up before New Orleans actually became a city, you know, before it officially became a city in the United States. You know, that little area was already there, and it still exists today. One of the oldest running black bookstores in Louisiana is on Bayou Road right now, you know, the Community Book Center. You know, and there's so many black businesses in that area. And I think sometimes people, they look over just how rich New Orleans is with black history, African culture, you know, and it's here. It's like when you walk in this city, you feel it. I mean, I've had people to come here from other places like, bruh, I love it here. Like, it feels like freedom in my pocket. Like, I love it here. Like, the music, the culture, the food, it feels like I'm in black heaven here. And it really is like that with the struggle now. Because we struggle like everybody else.
Yeah, we do.
We have learned how we struggle like anybody else. I don't want to make nobody think that New Orleans is this safe haven where you can come here and you ain't going to have no problems. No, we have problems like any other city in the United States. But one thing I will say about New Orleans is, even with those struggles, baby, we party through it. We celebrate through it. We eat through it. We get together and we second line through it. And we take those problems and we turn pain into something great, you know, and that's how we hold ourselves together.
Regime, when the Haitian so-called immigrants were coming across the border, it was about 3 years ago. I saw these graphic images of men on horseback greeting the Haitians. Fast forward through today, and you see people from South Africa getting a pass to come here to escape the retribution some were receiving from indigenous peoples in Africa who got sick and tired of their dumb sugar, honey, and iced tea. I'm trying not to cuss because people are watching. But how did you feel when you saw the Haitians being greeted by men on horseback with whips when white immigrants come across a border with no problem?
They got a welcoming party. They got a welcoming party when they came.
I think what we're seeing in America today is the ugliness, which has always existed here, unfortunately, and it's white supremacy. It's in our faces more than ever. Honestly, truthfully, it's there, and it's as it is. So when you see something like that happening, you're like, ooh, that's that ugly America that Hollywood has done an amazing job at making people not see. But that's what it is. That's what it's always been. And you would have been foolish to believe that that wasn't so. Unfortunately, America for centuries has been one that has, let's say, put on a show, but behind the scenes has always mistreated people of color. And it's not just Black people, it's all kinds of people. And Haiti is a nation that people try to underestimate the power of what our ancestors did back in the 1700s. And I say our ancestors because the majority of New Orleanians and those outside of New Orleans actually have an ancestor from Haiti, from Saint-Domingue at some point. It's in our DNA. So it's ours. What our ancestors did, they didn't do it just for Haitians. What they did changed the world. It challenged a global economy. It wasn't just the some people try to underestimate it or downplay it is the right word. That, oh yeah, it's the second republic in the Western Hemisphere. Nah, it's the first Black republic in the whole wide world.
Come on, sis.
Like, could you imagine that being done in the 1790s?
And
like
the vision of the people who thought about it could happen.
And all the work that has been put into ensuring that that nation isn't successful.
Yes, they paying child support from 1700, 1800.
Like, who does that?
They paying restitution.
The
Jealous
country has been suffering since then. And, you know, to say Haiti has these issues these past couple of decades, excuse my language, but that's bullshit.
Hillary Clinton went down there and took them people's money, didn't she?
There's so many things that have happened. And me as...
I can't say that. We Democrat, right?
But we're not going to get into politics, but we're going to stay in the humanity of things. What is happening and has been happening is inhumane. Bottom line, no matter who you are, no matter what your skin color is, it ain't right. And right now, the world is being face this other pivotal moment where we got to face the truth of things, and we need to make decisions that's best for humanity, not best for the white supremacists, to say it blankly, or just for a small group of people. And we need to stay grounded in that and take actions behind that.
I think it's interesting. Whoopi Goldberg had this very interesting discourse on The View yesterday. I don't even know who the other people on the show. I know Joy. That's about it. I don't know the other ones on there. You know, the show changed too much for me. I'm too old to keep up with them. You know, but the lady was on there. The lady that's on the end. Obviously, she's Republican. You know, but she started talking about Iran. And she was talking about the treatment of people in Iran. And she was saying that doesn't happen anywhere in the world. And Whoopi was like, Black people go through that every day right here in America. And they got into this heated discourse. This conversation on this debate got so heated that Whoopi had to go to a commercial break because she was trying to explain to her, you're more interested in how Iranians are being treated, but you don't realize that African Americans right here in America are being treated that same way every day. And the lady was like, oh, nobody's lynching. She's like, they do it all the time. We wake up every day and have to remind our kids, you know, don't go in the wrong neighborhood. Make sure you drive this way when you put your hands up, when you see them. We're still living in that time. I think sometimes we're blinded by the fact that we have some billionaires now. You know, we have some Black successful people now. And sometimes we get blinded by the appearance of wealth that we don't realize that we are still in those chains in a certain way when it comes to the mentality of America. They still, this country still views us as second-class citizens. And just because we got a Tyler Perry or an Oprah doesn't mean we have arrived. You know, some of us are better off than we were back then, but look at what's happening to Tyler Perry right now. You know what I'm saying? Look at what's happening. So there's always a reminder that you are still one of them, you know.
Bro, the term was used, white supremacy. Regine introduced that term. Is it white supremacy or is it the perception of white supremacy?
What do you mean?
Because my mother told me, and my mother was as fair as they come, my daddy was as dark as they come. She said, nobody's better than you and you ain't better than nobody. So when I hear the term white supremacy, that's what they think of themselves. Or no, that's what they tell themselves based on false information. Because true information is the oldest person on the planet, the oldest DNA on the planet comes from Africa. So this person can think what they want of themselves. And in America, where we're only 15% of the population, they can believe that. But when you put it on all even territory, all of that rigmarole goes out the window, because first of all, you find out that everybody is African. So how can you be superior to your father or your mother?
Well, I think white supremacy is a state of being. A white supremacist is a person who believes that state of being. You know,
are they really supreme?
No, I'm not saying they are. I'm saying that's what they believe. I'm saying
correct. That's what they believe. That's not what they are. I agree with you.
You know, so I don't. First of all, let me say this. You know, there's a guy who's going viral right now on the internet. A white guy. He's sitting in his car. God, I don't know his name. I should know his name because he's definitely invited to the cookout. You know, but he said on his video, he's in his car and he's crying. He's saying today's Juneteenth and white people need to wake up for the way that they've been treated. And he admitted, he said, me and most of my white friends, we were subliminally taught white supremacy from kids growing up. He says, it's not like somebody sits you down in the living room and say, hey, this is white supremacy.
Let's unpack that. What makes them think they are supreme? Is it how they get treated when they go in the store? Because what I see is everybody trying to emulate the black woman, from her lips to her body to her sway to her song. Everybody wants to be her, but then you're going to tell her that she's not enough.
Let me clear up what I was saying, because I don't want to misinterpret the guy. You know, what he was saying was nobody sits us down in the kitchen and say, here's how to be a white supremacist. He said, but as a kid, you grow up listening to your parents talk about other people. You grow up seeing their views, hearing their views about other people. And from a white kid on up, you start adapting. And you start adopting those same perspectives. And before you know it, you think that way. Now, to answer your question, and by the way, he cried and he was like, look, white people need to wake up. The way we've been treating black people all these years, and he admitted, he said, this country would not be where it is right now without black people. He said, here's a good way to answer your question, because in the guy's video, he said, everything we want, we go out and make it happen. We stopped them from doing it. Says we didn't want them to be around us, so we segregated them. Then they start their own cities. We get jealous and burn their cities down. You know, and so I guess white supremacy, whether we agree if it's right or not, because it's not right, you know, but they have the freedom to switch when they want to and just change when they want to and change the rules and change the game.
But there's a thing, bro, called karma. Karma's real. That same orange man over there in the White House, he's gonna reap what he sowed. Corey, welcome to the show. You started this mess. Say hello.
What's up with you?
How you doing?
Yo, I am talking about my boy. You know.
I hope you're not talking about the orange man as your boy.
Oh my God, I forgot.
I hope you're not talking about the orange man as his boy. You know,
I like Trump.
Orange man.
Everybody know I like Trump, man. Yeah, man.
You about to get me put out of Baltimore. Regine, I wanted you to know here in Baltimore, we have what is called Maryland crab soup. I love your gumbo. Matter of fact, I just waxed off the last of that vegan gumbo. It was a 50 fake out because I thought I had meat in that damn thing the whole time.
Corey tricked you.
Yeah, he tricked me. But we got Maryland crab soup. You ever come to Baltimore, we're going to get you a cup of Maryland crab soup and a jumbo lump.
Oh, for sure. I used to live in D.C. when I was with State Department. So I had that blessing.
That ain't Baltimore.
I know, but I have friends from Baltimore, and I had that blessing. You're absolutely right. It's not the same thing.
I was a meat eater. Good. It's good. When I was a meat eater, I had some. It's pretty good.
Then they're tricking people, Corey. Tell them about you fat vegans. Tell them about the Black Wall Street event.
Oh, man, listen, I was looking at the footage last night. It's almost finished being edited. So we got 2 more places to add to the footage, and then you will have it to put it up. So, yeah, man, it was nice. Wait till you guys see it. You're gonna like it. I'm still waiting on somebody to send me something on here.
Talk about Corey.
Trying to add it to it. But yeah, man, everything looked really, really good, you know.
Well, Corey, let's go to this. When I come down there, both times you took me to the West Bank, you took me around downtown.
I'm sorry.
All right.
He took you to the best bank.
Oh, the best bank. Okay.
Bro, don't get started. Don't get started.
We don't say West Bank. It's called the best bank.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
Wank, don't get started.
But invariably, something that comes up in my visit is his discussion on the Mississippi River. Anybody want to touch that for me? The significance of the Mississippi. The mighty, he said, it's the mighty Mississippi, and then he made me memorize is the North American Indian Superhighway. He made me memorize that.
Yeah, definitely. That's where the goods come from. It's been doing that since before it was American. Up and down the river, the goods traveled. The Indians used it. We got our hands on it. Now we use it the exact same way. You know what I mean? So that's how you had all of those different, and it's the same port cities. It's basically the same port cities all the way up, the same cities that the Indians had all the way up, you know?
So Ro, can you take me into that history at all of the Black Indians who were here before the European? They came before Columbus.
Well, I mean, I think everybody in this country, if you don't know, you better know that this is native land. You know what I'm saying? The Indians were here way before. I have a line in one of my spoken word pieces to say, we got to stop loosely using the word discover, because that usually means somebody had it and took it from another. You know, so, you know, somebody had it first and somebody showed up late and took it from another. You know, one thing I love about New Orleans, and I've done a lot of extensive research about Indian and African relation when it comes to history here in America. And the Black Seminoles don't get a lot of credit. You know, for some reason, we don't even teach that. You know, we don't even teach it in schools or nothing, you know. But the Black Seminoles are the root of pretty much how this culture is combined, you know, how the Indians and the African culture just combined. One beautiful thing I love about New Orleans is that, so here we have the Black masking Indians, you know, the Black masking Indians, you know, when you see people... looking like Indians, and they don't realize that is a real culture here. You know, the Indian tribes in New Orleans they were designed to pay homage to the Native American tribes. They were designed to pay homage to those Native brothers and sisters who assisted the slaves when they escaped plantations, who assisted the slaves and found unity and community with the Indians. You know, when the white man realized that the Indians and the Africans were creating communities, they killed the natives, put the Black ones back in chains again, you know. And so to preserve their history, to preserve Andrew Jackson, correctly. So to preserve their history, the Africans picked up their cultures, picked up their rituals and their traditions and made it a part of ours. So imagine if somebody killed everybody in your family and you have nobody left to carry out your family legacy, nobody left to carry out the history of your family, anything. So the Africans said, look, these people ain't gonna try to help us. You know what I'm saying? They are not our oppressors. They have done nothing but try to help us. So when they wiped them out, the Africans down here said, you know what? Well, we're going to pick up their traditions for them. We're going to carry out their heritage for them because they have nobody left to do it for them. And so we start having the Indian tribes around New Orleans to celebrate that bond between the Africans and the Indians. So when you come to New Orleans and you see our Indian tribes wearing these big feather suits and all of that, that's just us saying we ain't forgot. We haven't forgotten that massacre. And these people are our family. They showed us nothing but love. They helped us. We helped them. We were building something great with the Indians until that was destroyed. And so here in New Orleans, that culture is still celebrated to this day. We have more than 30 Black Indian tribes across this city.
So you just explained something to me a little better than I understood. Come on, Regine, because I got questions.
I want to add something, a tidbit that a lot of people don't know in relation to Louisiana and the Mississippi River. So when America was forming itself and becoming a stronger nation, what it needed to acquire was a huge land mass. Remember, at this point in time in the 1700s, 1800s, it was just the East Coast. Correct. So the Louisiana Purchase in April 30th, 1803, this happened thanks to Haiti. Haiti was giving the French a whole lot of problem. Everything west, or a huge chunk west of the Mississippi River, was owned by France. Napoleon, who is known as one of the greatest emperors in the world,
got his ass whipped.
He got his ass whipped by Haitians. And he said, wait, Haiti is the most lucrative of our colonies. We cannot lose Haiti. I would rather sell this huge land mass, which is from the mouth of the Mississippi River all the way up to Canada, almost over to Oregon, Portland. I would rather sell that. And that is known as the best real estate deal in history.
The Louisiana Purchase.
The Louisiana Purchase. That happened thanks to Haiti. This enabled the United States to control the entire Mississippi River, which was a huge economic point, transit point for trade.
And military.
Giving the U.S. its huge landmass and control and power, removing threats from additional interference from other nations. All of that thanks to Haiti.
You know, that same thing happened in Florida. You know, the Seminoles pretty much ran South Florida. You know, that land was still owned by Spain at the time.
Until 1831.
Andrew Jackson sent his soldiers down to Florida, got their ass whipped.
That mother.
Got their ass whipped. You know, he sent 5,000 more soldiers down there. The Black Seminoles and the original Seminoles were working together. They defeated them again. They realized they could not stop. This army was, I got a whole piece on my new album called Seminole. They could not stop this legion, this army that was built by Black and brown people. So guess what they did? Bought the land from Spain.
Yeah.
They end up buying the land from Spain. Now they own the land, so they can do whatever they want to do with the people in that land. That's how the Seminole people got to Oklahoma. When they bought the land, they moved the Indians to Oklahoma and put the Black ones back in chains again. You know, that's pretty much how it went down. So the Louisiana Purchase, the Florida Purchase, it was all about the same thing. Control, power.
Yeah.
Come on, Corey. You coordinated this insurrection. Might as well finish it. One of the stories I read about was Henry Adams, and I put him in this book. Henry Adams was a native of, I think, Shreveport or wherever he was from. He paid for Blacks to leave the South and go to Liberia. Because not only were Blacks leaving the deep South to go to Oklahoma, some chose to go all the way back to Africa. And, you know, of course, there was Sierra Leone. I think that was the country where they sent British expatriates, Blacks who fought for the British in the Revolutionary War. They got them up to Nova Scotia and then they sent them off to West Africa. So, Regine, I wanted you to touch on how do we move forward? There's so much about our history that we do not know. Everything we're told about Haiti is something negative, Ro, Bing, they always find the strength that they want the rest of us to know. Tell me about how you find that strength. Tell me how we move forward.
So one important fact that I chose to do in my career, so I was a US diplomat. So I was promoting American culture overseas. And New Orleans is a strength. Me being from New Orleans, being able to tell that true story made a huge difference. And I was blessed to be able to live the past 14 years of my life in Haiti. And so I experienced Haiti, which I think is probably a dream of so many Haitian Americans who don't have that opportunity. And so with those experiences, what I've done is created a foundation in New Orleans called Revive Haiti. And its purpose, its mission is to, one, build bridges between cultural institutions in New Orleans, because we got a lot of them and they're amazing, and bridge them with Haitian culture bearers and Haitian cultural institutions. Haiti does not have a strong cultural diplomacy program. The government is weak. We know that. They're not going to spend any money on cultural programming. So what we've built is a citizens-led cultural diplomacy effort. What you see now, thanks to movements like Black Lives Matter, for example, and so many other initiatives within the African American community that they've been leading, you have people that finally realize, we've been fed a bunch of lies about Haiti. What we see on the surface is BS. Who is best placed to tell the real story on Haiti? Haitians. Haitian culture bearers. So this is why we put this organization in place to work with existing organizations in New Orleans and the US who are looking for richer programming, who are looking for people who can give the live content, giving that space to Haitian culture bearers to tell those stories and to do it in synchrony. So Revive Haiti, New Orleans-based foundation, is taking the responsibility to orchestrate that properly. So it's not a one-off effort, so that it's something that's consistent, that just keeps growing. You got to give people who know the real history, who live it every day, the space, the spotlight to actually do it and to contribute to a larger effort. We know from L'Union fait la force, which is the founding principles of Haiti back in 1804, our ancestors knew that this would be a hard effort and said, you know what, you may have different viewpoints, it don't matter, but you have to be united on some basic principles like freedom. And we know today a lot of our freedom also includes not just liberty to walk the streets, but to maintain and control your finances. I think how people spend their money is extremely important. A lot of people have fallen for the consumerism trap. You work, you spend and buy crap. Who you buying from? Is that company you buying from doing anything for your people, doing anything for your community? So it's a combination of being able to redirect how we spend our money and making sure that it's helping entrepreneurs who share values with us so that they can keep rising. Our people used to do this in the 1800s. In the 1900s.
I want to tell you something, Ms. LaBruce. I watched Roe institute a nonprofit right outside of Two Fat Vegans. This lady came up. Now I'm from Baltimore. We used to people who ain't feeling 100% coming off on us like they clearly not feeling 100%. But Ro was real cool. The lady came up with this line that she was a shaman and she had the little lines on her. And Ro wasn't phased at all. It was almost like, yeah, I done heard this story before, but give me another one. But she said she was hungry. I watched Ro cash app that lady some money. That's Baltimore. If you fall down, I've seen it in New York City. If you fall down, somebody will pick you up. Why you pick up, Ro?
because one of my favorite movies of all time is New Jack City, and the theme of that city is "We All We Got." You know what I'm saying? the
There you
theme of
go.
the movie is "We All We Got." You know,
Bro, you went in your pocket. I watched you.
But see, it's the God in me. You know, I don't know why anybody else do what they do, but it's God in me. You know, I don't do what I do because I want to do it. My spirit, my physical mind said that ain't my problem. But it is your problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We all we got. You know, if I can, I want to ask Regine something.
Yes. Sir.
Listen, I'm pretty sure there are migrations of Haitians in a lot of cities in America. But there is a huge migration of Haitians in New Orleans. And I want to know, like, when you go to Haiti, like, what's the contrast? What's the likeness? Because some of the Haitians in my neighborhood, when I talk to them, they say, man, this feels just like being in Haiti. You know, I mean, what do people in Haiti feel about New Orleans? Like, or is there like a little a message there or a comment?
Is there little Nola in Haiti?
People say, man, if you want to go to the U.S., go to New Orleans. It's a whole community of us there. You know, like, what do people say in Haiti about New Orleans that makes New Orleans so attractive when they want to migrate to the States, to the mainland? Like, what makes them choose New Orleans so much?
You may think there are a lot of Haitians in New Orleans because, well, New Orleans is a small city compared to many other U.S. states, but it's not a lot. And in Haiti, on the island proper, very few of them actually know about New Orleans. I mean, I was New Orleans' biggest ambassador.
It's unbelievable because, I mean, so many are over here by me. They take over the West Bank.
Education, access to education, access to information regime.
It's not part of the classes out there. They don't learn about New Orleans. Why would they learn about New Orleans history? We have to make that happen. So that's part of the work that we're doing with Revive IET and why it's so important to have partnerships with institutions in Haiti. Because if more Haitians knew about that shared history, my God, like we would be able to unleash so many additional great things. It's not common practice. Only those who have attained a certain level of education would be aware of the links.
I think it takes spokespeople like you, because I'll be honest, I really didn't know a lot about Haiti until the 90s. You know, I grew up thinking Haiti was a terrible place, you know, of criminals and savages, whatever, you know, because that's what they manipulate us to believe as kids. You know, it wasn't until the Fugees.
Voila.
Wyclef educated me on the real. I think it takes ambassadors like yourself, like Wyclef, like people,
culture bearers, man,
to really explain the truth about where you're from. You know, because they want us to believe. They want us to believe New Orleans is terrible. They want us to believe that any place with people of color is a bad place. You know, but it takes ambassadors to actually speak on those places to let us know it's not what you think. We got hardships like anybody else, but it's not what you think. You know,
I saw more poor white people in my trip to New Orleans than I saw poor black people.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like that's a post-Katrina thing.
I see it in my neighborhood in West Baltimore. I see more poor white people running around chasing dope and coke and crack in my neighborhood, in my alley, than I do poor black addicts.
You know, I want to shed some light. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You know, the first time I seen Haiti painted in a positive light on TV was actually on the Cosby Show. Bill Cosby, he always had his Haitian friends, and they always painted Haiti in a good light on the Cosby. Yeah, that was probably the first positive images of Haiti and the Haitian people. The actual Haitian people I saw on TV was on the Cosby Show. Yeah, just add that to it because I know he said Wyclef and the Fugees definitely they brought a big light to it. But the first positive, and I believe the Haitians on there were doctors, and you know how Bill Cosby did it. They were all educated people on there. Cosby Show.
I mean, we need to realize that every country has different layers. Right. It's not just a Haitian phenomenon. It's not just an African-American phenomenon. I mean, I'm a third generation college educated woman. My grandfather was born in 1899 in Haiti. He was a doctor. He was he graduated the first medical graduating class in Haiti. And people are like, wait, what? it takes us going above and beyond what the general perceptions are. And can't nobody do it like us. We have to take that initiative. I grew up in New Orleans during a time where it was not safe to go to Treme. That whole part of town was, you don't go there. And my parents are immigrants. Both of them are doctors. Both of them are Haitian doctors.
Pardon my ignorance. Why don't you go there?
It was very dangerous.
For
and
who?
For anybody at that point in time. Once they built the interstate that crossed into Treme and it killed that Black businesses there, slowly but surely, crime erupted. Drugs were all over the place.
You would get got over in Treme.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And if you're not from there, if your people aren't from the 6th Ward, from the 7th Ward, if you don't have like family base there, you don't necessarily have a reason to go there. Because my dad was a physician and he gave birth to a lot of babies. He was an OBGYN. A lot of his patients would invite us over for some gumbo, for, those family traditions. And so that was our introduction.
Your dad was like, nah, I'm not coming to y'all house.
My dad took us. My daddy actually took us.
He was safe. He had a pass.
He had a pass. You have to have, if you don't have that pass.
They ain't gonna mess with the doctor.
They ain't gonna mess with the doctor. If you don't have that pass, don't take your butt out there.
was your dad friends with Dr. Mom Point?
Yes, absolutely.
Mom Point, wasn't Mom Point Haitian, right? I think Mom Point. Yeah. He delivered my babies, man. He delivered so many babies in New Orleans, man. Dr. Mom Point.
Yeah, he was an OBGYN too.
Yes.
Our family's
let me just get this again.
Yeah, man.
Corey, let me hear you pronounce the name.
Mom Point. I think I'm saying it right.
No. Don't change it. Now, Regine, how would you say it?
Mon Point.
Oh, Mon Point. Okay.
Johnny got to scratch his head. He can't get with this New Orleans lingo, man.
I got it. He don't know a lick of French.
See, I never heard that nobody Haitian pronounce it. It was all Black Americans. New Orleans people say Dr. Mom Point.
That's how if you're reading from the American Anglophone lens, that's what it says.
Point, man.
I'm glad you said that. In my second book, I talk about the Black newspaper. From an African American perspective, the first Black newspaper is Freedom's Journal, New York City, in English. I went digging, is that really the first Black newspaper? And I found out the first Black newspaper was in Sierra Leone. In Sierra Leone, it was obviously in French, but the second was in Haiti. So the Haitian and the Sierra Leonean newspaper is before Freedom's Journal, but it goes to the very point, not all of us speak English. Some speak French, some speak Wolof or Swahili. We speak many languages. And so I made the mistake of looking at our history through an English lens.
Only in America do we speak one language. In other countries, it is almost mandatory that you speak multiple languages. So I'm a big Afrobeat fan. I love Afrobeat music. I have the #1 Afrobeat station in the world, 595. We have accumulated more than 250,000 listeners online. We play only Afrobeat music. And my sons, because they're around me so much, they got to listen to Afrobeat. That's all I listen to. So my sons have started learning to speak other languages by listening to the music. And a lot of Afrobeat music is in what's called pidgin, and pieces of different languages. So Afrobeat is based out of Nigeria. That's the home base for the culture and the root of Afrobeat music, out of Nigeria. And in Nigeria, some of them speak French, some of them speak this, some of them speak that, some of them speak this. So what happens is when you've got 10 different languages around you at all times, you start picking up on this, and you pick up on that, and you pick up on this, and it becomes pidgin. it's like a pigeon carrying stuff from here to there, and you got the pigeon picked up a worm from over here and picked up some dirt from over here, and it's like one big pile over here in the nest somewhere, you know.
And that's the gumbo.
That's the gumbo, you know. So in New Orleans, it's very similar to that because there are so many cultures here. There are so many people from different areas. The pronunciation of words can change in a minute like that. You know, what this means can mean something else on another side of town, you know, and it's like, it's very, very like that. You got to be able to speak street. You got to be able to speak white. You got to be able to speak a little Haitian. You got to know some things in Jamaican. You got to know some things in French. You got to know a little Spanish here in New Orleans because we have all those pockets right here in the city. But I think one of the disservices that we do to our own people, and I'm trying to do better at that. I really can't just say that I can attack all black people. I'm saying I need to do better. You know, there are hundreds of languages in Africa, and we don't speak any, but we claim to be African Americans. You know, it is ridiculous that we can't even converse. We can't even have a conversation with somebody in Africa unless they speak English. You know, and over there, English is mandated. It is like mandated in school to learn English, but they also have to learn the language of their area. I have friends in Johannesburg.
I'm going to push back on you, Ro. Mm-hmm. If you put black people in a certain space, there's a rhythm to how we move. Now, we don't have to speak Nigerian or any language that's in Africa, but when you see black people interact, because remember, we in America, we come from various parts of Africa, and some of us were already here. Not all of us came in the bottom of a slave ship.
Facts.
You look at Mansa Musa, the richest king who ever lived, he sent 1,000 ships from Mali to the west. We've always been in this part of the world, but there's a certain rhythm. And I'm gonna give you a classic example. You're a black man, you walk past any black man in the world, it's going to be eye contact, because the first thing is he cool? Is he not cool? As long as you walking normal, the brother's more than likely to give you what?
A nod, one of them.
A nod.
Well, that's because a large percentage of communication is nonverbal. And when you touch on the African part, you know, my grandfather, Professor John Great-Theriot, he was an archaeologist and he was the librarian at Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria, right? So they always say he speaks hundreds of languages. I remember seeing him as a kid. He'll come over, he even speak I tell him, say the dot, he click and all. He knew all of these different languages because he traveled throughout Africa dealing with all the different tribes and stuff. So even when I'm in Africa, I don't speak Swahili, but we find a way to communicate, you know, and it's nonverbal. And I don't know, something about the way people saying it, and you almost know what they talking about. You always find that common thing, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you mean this? And they shake it, yeah. I don't know how it actually works, but it's just a nonverbal, and I don't know how you feel the expression like that, to where you actually understand exactly what they're trying to do.
Ro talked about pigeon. It's my understanding that the word okay is African.
Okay, maybe so. I don't doubt it.
It could be. I don't know. But I don't know. But see, that's the thing. You can't just say African, because there are different types of Africans, and there are different languages in Africa. South Africa is completely different from Central Africa, you know, and North Africa. You know, it's a whole different world in Johannesburg and Cape Town and those areas down there.
It's a continent. You know? We keep forgetting Africa is a continent.
It's a continent and not a country. Yes. But you know,
I think we can't forget the American experience and the fact that our people, meaning people of African descent, have been evolving in a space where there have been consistent efforts to erase our culture, to erase our connection with our culture. So many African Americans only speak one language, not necessarily by choice, but because that's what was enforced. When you look at Louisiana, for example, and Louisiana is really its own place, we've suffered from many waves of, you know, Creole in Louisiana and French in Louisiana has been alive for a long time. And there were a lot of efforts to abolish our multilingualism.
To ostracize you, to
Correct.
make you not feel a part of.
At one point, it was literally banned from being spoken. So there's a big disconnect. So growing up in New Orleans, from Haitian parents in our household, my mom insisted that we only spoke French in the household because she wanted to ensure that we were multilingual. And then we spoke Creole with friends because Creole was the fun language. French was the serious, you need to articulate your thoughts. It was the more complex language. And they also put me in a French elementary school. So I grew up speaking all three languages. And my friends who were from New Orleans proper, multi-generations in New Orleans, they didn't speak anything but English, but I could speak to their grandparents. So their grandparents like retained a little bit in their memory, but they were banned from speaking it. And then it became this language that was used when you didn't want anyone else to understand what you were saying.
Is they whiz they niz they ya boy, you heard?
Pig lag.
So there's that reality that we often forget and try to be hard on ourselves as African Americans. It's not our fault that we're disconnected with our culture, but it will be our fault if we don't do anything about it today.
You know, here in New Orleans, Donna, you mentioned earlier Congo Square. It may have been Regina. I forgot who mentioned
it. Was me.
Congo Square. You know, Congo Square. One of the privileges that we had with Congo Square is that on Sundays they would allow. I don't even like calling people slaves, you know, because that's the term they gave us. You know,
enslaved
people. You know, but when they would go down. What did you say, Corey?
Prisoners of war.
Prisoners of war. I like that better. You know, but when they would go down, they would give us Sundays. Sundays from 12 o'clock noon to 6 o'clock p.m. was the time that they gave us to pretty much go out there and operate in our native culture. You know, we could use our talents, our gifts. They played the drums. They sang. They prayed in their native language. They fellowshipped and everything. You know. And in Congo Square, in that area, one of the very unique things about Congo Square is that was a safe place for them to speak in their native language. They were not allowed to speak in their native language on the plantations. They were not allowed to speak. As a matter of fact, they would cut their tongues out their mouth if they did that, you know. But when they would go to Congo Square, you know, on those Sundays, that was like free to be black, free to be African at that time. And so those languages kind of stuck around for a while because they at least got a chance to speak their language once a week. I'm saying it to say this. In New Orleans, you know, one of the things that's very unique about New Orleans is the different cultures here that creates one big culture. It really is a gumbo. You know, it really is a gumbo. The way we pronounce words here, you know, a little different from, but the pronunciation of the words is, there's so many different cultures here pronouncing these words. You know, it's so many different ways to pronounce it. You know, I had a lady, she came in one time, she said, well, I stand at a hotel on Burgundy Street. And I was like, what? And she said, I'm staying at a hotel on Burgundy Street. And we went back and forth, and it took me a while to realize she was talking about Burgundy, you know, because even though it's spelled the same way, we say Burgundy. You know, nobody can pronounce Chapatulas. You know, I don't care how many times the people who come here from out of the city, they say Tachapatapatapalusas. They really can't pronounce it, you know. And it's like there are so many words here like that, so many ways here like that. I've heard people pronounce Treme as stream. Oh, I'm over here in the stream. You know, so, look, it's to the point, even in New Orleans, Danny, we are very specific on how we pronounce New Orleans. Yeah.
Right.
We can tell if you're really a part of this culture by the way you say the city name.
No.
See, we don't do that. That's country.
New Orleans.
We don't do that. We don't say New Orleans.
I like when they say Nolans. Nah, you're not from here.
And they're trying to be cool, right? Because they think they're doing it right.
Right, they're doing it right.
Nolans. No, it's not Nolans, baby. It's not Nolans. I tell you what was really funny. Like it's like one word.
You know the people from down the bayou when they say it. You know they from down the bayou. You know they from here, but they from down the bayou. How they say it versus somebody from way out of town trying to say it.
Well, we know here in Baltimore people who ain't from here who trying to sound cool too.
They say,
I know.
I learned this about Baltimore. I just always say Baltimore, you know, and Baltimore people don't say Baltimore. They say Baltimore.
It's a D or no letter at all.
What is it, Donnie? I want to hear it the right way.
D, Baltimore.
If someone tells you they're from Baltimore, at best they from Baltimore County. But if they're from the city, it's either going to be
they're going to say Baltimore.
It's either going to be a D or there's going to be no consonant at all. Baltimore or Baltimore.
But that's the thing. Language is living. That's why
we know it.
There's
we
dead
know
language.
it. Like, no, you can't fake it.
So the living always evolves. It's a living language is living.
But Corey tell on himself before he even opened his. Well,
that's why I'm gonna tell you something.
And I know that's
why I respect Ebonics. You know how people used to laugh. He's speaking Ebonics. I used to always tell people back in the day, you think it's Ebonics right now, but it's actually a language. You know what I mean? It evolved. Language evolved. You say, oh, Ebonics, you speaking Ebonics. You can. Guess what? I watched them pluck certain Ebonic words and throw it in that dictionary. Language live. You cannot stop it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
New Orleans has introduced words into the American language.
Honestly, creative.
Look, nobody was saying bling.
No, that wasn't.
Bling is a New Orleans term. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was saying new ice on your wrist. That's uptown New Orleans right there. That's Calio. You know what I'm saying? That's uptown New Orleans. That's the hot boys. You know what I'm saying? They introduce
Calio, not Calliope. Okay.
Oh yeah, Calio.
Let me just put this out here to my pure New Orleans audience. Were you upset when Kendrick Lamar got the Super Bowl show?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I went back and
no shade to Kendrick Lamar. No shade to Kendrick Lamar.
Right. You went back and forth because you love Kendrick too.
No.
I love Kendrick too. But
I didn't go back and forth. I didn't go back and forth.
I went back and forth.
No, I wanted Wayne.
Because let me tell you why I went back and forth. And I was talking to my Miami friends out here telling them, y'all won't understand. So it's the back and forth for me is pride versus purpose. You from New Orleans, you gotta vouch for Lil Wayne. Like you've grown up with Lil Wayne. Like Lil Wayne moved into my neighborhood when I was in high school. And I was like, what? And so there's like this affinity, there's this loyalty. Like New Orleans people, we loyal as hell. So that's a debate. But when I first saw the show, first I was like, oh Lord, this man, he done took Lil Wayne's spot. Like I can't believe they didn't choose Lil Wayne. But at the same time, when you look at the level of thought put into every single word that Kendrick said, and the costumes and the designs and the lighting and everything, he did it. He did it. He nailed it, and he delivered a powerful message that went above so many people's heads that we know. We got to be honest. Lil Wayne's level of creativity and delivery, it's different. It's just different. So
here's what people don't get about the Super Bowl. The artist pretty much come up with an idea and they say, this is what I want to do. The Super Bowl has a whole committee that figure out how to bring that to life. That's not all Kendrick Lamar. There's a whole committee of people who say, okay, how do we bring this to life? What's happening right now that's hot? Squid Games was hot on Netflix at the time. You know what I'm saying? The new season had just come out. This is our marketing. Let's figure out how to tie this in with this, and let's do that and still give him his message. They would have done the same thing with Lil Wayne. They would have done the same thing with Beyonce. They would have done the same thing with. I'm not saying it would have been the same, but I'm saying they would have had a same group of people who would have sat around and said, how do we bring this to life? How do we make this pop? Wayne doesn't have to. When you're at the Super Bowl, that's the biggest stage in the world. So there is a whole. They spend millions and millions of dollars on just the halftime show. So any artist they would have had, they would have performed above their normal level of performance. Okay. People are saying that now because they've seen the Super Bowl. and they've seen what has happened, But every Super Bowl is at a high level of performance. I mean, they have Rihanna flying in the air, Usher's out there dancing with roller skates and sparks and flyers and fire and everything. I remember when Michael Jackson just stood still for a minute in the crowd. They always have a level of high. I mean, when Beyonce came here, the power went out in the Super Bowl. The entire building went black. I believe that was, I believe that was orchestrated.
Is it okay to talk about? Is it okay to talk about rap music in New Orleans and not mention Master P? Because that was my first introduction.
Well, honestly, in New Orleans, Master P
battlefield, love. That was Master P.
Honestly, in New Orleans, Master P gets more respect as a businessman than a rapper. Here he is more respected as a mogul than just as a rapper. If you ask somebody to give you the top 10 rappers of New Orleans of all time, Master P probably wouldn't be on their list. But if you ask him to give them the top 10 moguls or business or icons, he's definitely on that list.
Yeah.
He's definitely on that list.
I'll tell you this: if Wayne would have did the show, it wouldn't have been as political. I give you that. It wouldn't have been as message driven. It would have been more entertainment driven. So as far as giving that the Black Power message, and that's what a lot of the NFL people was upset about. Like, wait a minute, when did this become a Black Lives Matter show? You know what I mean?
Over their
to watch football. Wayne probably wouldn't have done that because he's not that type. He's not an activist artist.
That's not him.
He's an entertainer. He's not an activist artist. Kendrick is more of an activist artist, so he has those type of messages. So, I mean, Wayne got a couple songs with those messages, but his whole show is not centered around being an activist.
Corey,
for me, it's like
a Lil Wayne song.
But Donnie, for me, it's this world loves to use New Orleans to make money.
Yeah.
They love the New Orleans has had New Orleans and Miami are tied for the cities that have had the Super Bowl the most. You know what I'm saying? We've had the Super Bowl more than any city in this country. We've had WrestleMania. All the big events. They want to come to New Orleans because of this culture. Yeah. But when you come to the city, you want to show Bourbon Street. You want to show the Indians. You want to show all of this, but you don't want to use the people who are from our city and give them their due. That's why we feel offended by it. Wayne has earned it. If it was somebody else, we probably would have said, nah. But Wayne has earned it. He has earned it. That's what would have happened. Instead of showing the activist side, it would have showcased New Orleans and New Orleans culture. And that would have been a little bit better. Wayne would have brought out he would have brought the big brass band. Showcase New Orleans culture.
But here's the thing, though, and I'm going to challenge you guys a bit. And don't forget, I'm a proud New Orleanian, too. Where we are today in America, what is the most important message that needs to be pushed as Black people in America, specifically?
Self-love.
And I think that as much as I love Lil Wayne, I really do, where we are in our culture as Americans today, we needed to be smacked with that reality. And New Orleans' culture had lots of opportunity to shine throughout the entire Super Bowl weekend. And I think what we don't do well, let's say what we do well as New Orleanians, we show up, right? We show up with our energy, with our creativity, with our pizzazz, but we don't necessarily prepare consistently. We're not always ready. Why is it during the Super Bowl, this is when all of a sudden there's money to fix the homeless issue?
Because the NFL gives it to them.
Right. That's not coming. That money coming from outside.
Twice as much more money to fix it for a 2-month solution versus what the community has been working on for over a year, which would have required half that amount of money to solve the issue permanently. So that's the real BS that happens in our city when we feel pressure to do something for some event that's happening quickly. And all of a sudden there's an influx of money from outside sources to put Band-Aids on versus really addressing our problems consistently.
Well, Regine, I got to put you on Front Street. Let me just jump in. I understand that
it's happening right now with Essence. They're doing the same thing with Essence right now. You see them cleaning stuff up for Essence.
But what's up with voting? I understand the mayor is not from New Orleans.
Well, see, this is what people say, and I don't know how I feel about that because her people are from here. She spent some time in California, I believe, and then came back. But it's like we don't like to claim people. We like to exclude people, especially when people have problems. They're like, well, she's not really from here.
Is she from here or not?
Are her people from here?
No, is she from here?
My understanding is she did do some of her elementary studies in New Orleans.
There's a big difference. It's a big difference.
Let me ask you this.
Because I would think an indigenous person could tell, oh, she don't even know where such and such is.
Look, she tried to shut down stuff New Orleans things that was like, wait a minute.
Corey, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Corey. You know, because one of the things that make Atlanta the size that it is the fact that Atlanta is very welcoming to people who are not from Atlanta. One of the things that makes Los Angeles, Chicago, New York is because they're very welcoming to people who are not from those cities. Those cities have huge populations because people are able to move there, thrive, and make it greater. But there is a thing in New Orleans, and it is real, that if you're not from here, we put a gate in front of you. We put a wall in front of you, you know, and it's very, very hard. And a lot of times we could actually probably grow up. For example, I wasn't born in New Orleans. Now, I'm Louisiana-based all my life. I've been in New Orleans longer than any place I've ever lived, but I wasn't born in New Orleans. And many times I'm often confronted, well, you know, you've been here a long time, but you necessarily ain't from here. I'm like, well, you know, I pay taxes here. My kids were born, my kids grew up here. I'm like, what else do you want? You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's a problem, guys.
It's not.
It's a real issue.
We do the same thing in Baltimore. We do the same thing.
What is crap, guys? We
need
competent people. Why we always
certain
trying to
things
exclude?
that's sensitive, certain things that's critical and sensitive that you may not get if you wasn't entrenched. I don't think it's that she wasn't born here. I think that when she popped up out of California.
She went to Xavier. She went to Xavier University. Then she went.
You know how many people go to Xavier?
But not only that, Corey, she went to Xavier. She served in politics for years before she became the mayor. She was a city councilwoman. She had activists. I mean, so I'm not gonna knock what she's done here. I can't take that from her because she earned the right to run for mayor. But I always wonder, like, I mean, even myself sometimes, we have poets on the scene that are not from here. We have artists that are from DC, from other places that are not from here. And they have a very hard time fitting in because we are very, very, very selective, and there's like a gate here, you know.
Can't help it.
And sometimes I find myself doing it, you know.
It ain't judgmental.
The question is, are you from here?
Do you who me? Yeah, you know that. And look, do you truly understand? Do you truly understand the culture of New Orleans?
Corey ain't gonna answer the question. He's not gonna answer the question.
Answer what question? Wait, say that again. I ain't.
You ain't gonna answer the question, man. I said, well, why? Why? We know it happens, but why?
Because when you do certain things, people start questioning, do you truly understand the culture of New Orleans? Remember that what she tried? Didn't she try to shut down the second lines? Or we gonna stop
during COVID, man? That was during COVID, man. Come on,
man. Stop it, man. You can't say. You said certain things.
No, I think we lucky she did not cancel Mardi Gras that year.
Thank you. She wanted to cancel Mardi Gras,
but she didn't. The rest of the United States was shut down already, guys.
Listen,
and like
we're like, if that cross your mind, you're gonna shut down Mardi Gras. And I know you're not from here. I'm definitely gonna question you.
Now, Corey, I will agree with
you.
What
you talking about? You gonna shut down Mardi Gras?
They are dying going to Mardi Gras.
Corey,
ain't nobody died going. Who died?
I will agree with you on one thing.
They died going to the second line, and there ain't no COVID. It's bullets, and they still go every time.
I would agree with you on one thing. And I think a lot of times, one of the reasons that a lot of people in New Orleans, I'm in many ways, I'm a cultural ambassador of the city. I do museums, I do tours, you know, I speak on behalf of New Orleans around the country, you know. And one of the reasons that I think people really give me a pass, because I wasn't born here. I've been here most of my life, but I wasn't born here. You know, I think one of the reasons that people give me a pass is because of my respect for the culture. You know, people recognize you understand this culture and you're a part of this culture. They see that you ain't trying to change the culture.
You
ain't trying to gentrify the culture. You want us.
Yes,
mess with
they embrace you. You do get embraced in New Orleans, no matter where you from. They'll say, "How long you been here?" I've been here 8 years. Boy, you from here? You been here that long? You here? You with us? But if you try to change some of the, if you don't stop it, if you don't put that wall up at some point, how do you protect the integrity of New Orleans?
Well, that's what's happening now.
Listen, now you go to let's go to Uptown right now. Let's go to New Orleans right now.
No, go to the Ninth Ward.
And I could bring you to multiple restaurants right now that they're gonna say, oh yeah, well, it's New Orleans influence, it's Cajun influence, it's this influence. And if you're not from New Orleans and you go there and say, oh yeah, I had this in New Orleans, and you tell that to somebody from New Orleans, they be like, what is that? we ain't never eat that before. It's because so many people come in, carpetbaggers. I'm gonna say they come in, they stay a little while, they carpetbag, they say, oh yeah, I did this with a little Cajun, I did it with New Orleans twist, and this and that, and they change it, and then people come from outside and they think that's what it is. And guess what? If you ain't come to New Orleans before Katrina, you ain't never been to New Orleans.
Because it's two different New Orleans.
It's two different New Orleans. If you don't know that, you don't know that. If you ain't come to New Orleans before Katrina, you ain't go to the real New Orleans. You came to the New Orleans.
Donnie, there's an area here in New Orleans called the Ninth Ward. You got the Ninth Ward and the Lower Nine. The Ninth Ward was the second largest black area in America, second to Harlem. You know, it was just all black.
And that's
when
it
ain't even all black no more. You know,
that's when they come to water, right?
It ain't even all black no more. I mean,
right.
The Ninth Ward now got dog parks and bike lanes and Chinese restaurants and
all kind of stuff, man.
They use Katrina to gentrify it.
Hey, ever since niggas said this a chocolate city and always gonna be a chocolate city, I think eyebrows went up and said, "Oh, that's what you think? We gonna show you better.
If you really want to know what really happened to New Orleans, get Ray Nagin's book. I'll tell everybody, get Ray Nagin's book. That man broke this thing down, man.
Well, I got a question for all y'all. How long is Mark Morial going to run the National Urban League? Don't y'all have another job for that black man? Because he done it like 20 years. It's like, damn, is he ever going to pass the ball?
Well, we all allow nobody to talk about Mark Morial. So
long as he wants.
He can stay there as long as he wants to. We love the Morial.
It's not Mark's Urban League.
We like Mark. We like Ernest. We like all of them.
Yeah, as long as he wants.
We have ancestry from Haiti as well.
Oh, Morial.
Can anybody else touch the basketball? Can I shoot?
Hey, listen. Who you got to go against him? And why the people not voting him in?
Regime. Bro, come on. Hey, dude, when we going to pass the ball?
I'm Team Morial.
Al Sharpton. Ain't you tired of seeing Al Sharpton? Don't you want a younger version of Al Sharpton? Can anybody else get on that?
I don't want no version of Al Sharpton. I ain't going to lie to you. I don't need no version of Al Sharpton. But what?
This is something
you want fat Al or skinny Al?
Honestly.
You want dancing big head skinny Al? Or you want big Al?
But Donnie,
that's a very good point, though. It's a very good point, though.
Yeah.
The black leadership needs to start ushering in some new people in every even the Democratic Party. People are tired of the
Wait. Let me tell you something. No batons is passed. Batons is taken. So you can't blame them people. Go take it.
No, what this generation
you take the baton. Ain't nobody opened that lane up for Al. Al opened that lane up for himself, and I respect him for that.
This generation don't want it. They just create something new.
They don't
was he not an informant, and your generation don't respect informants?
Oh yeah. Oh no, nobody respect that rat and stuff he did. That was crazy.
Well, we say snitches get stitches.
Well, let's be honest, Bill. Some of that snitching stuff speak to the integrity of the person. If you could sit there and tell on everything something bad somebody else did, they always say, like your mom used to say, how come you don't tell what you did?
One of the brothers in the group,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you did. You know everything that man did. Now let's talk about what you did. Oh, we gonna keep your stuff quiet, right? Nah, that's why it's not respected.
One of the brothers in the group down there, he just asked a question. I think it's a very good question. He said, why did the black leadership in New Orleans allow New Orleans to become gentrified? And I can answer that question. One of the reasons is because Hurricane Katrina wiped everybody out. They
wasn't here.
They wasn't here. And so they got the city when it's at its weakest point.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And when there was nobody black here to defend their properties, there was nobody black here to defend our education system, there was nobody black here to defend our areas of the city, they took control of those things, man. They took, so when you imagine Katrina, when you are already, the majority of your part of your constituency is in impoverished areas anyway. You know, Katrina wipes them out. You know, they come back to a home to look and see what they got left. The roof caved in, and it would cost them a lifetime to refix what they have. So they end up buying these properties at dirt cheap, just dirt cheap. Pretty much stole the land, stole the properties, and before you know it, an entire area that used to be 99% black is now 60% black. You know, an entire city that had a huge appearance of black leadership and black. Now that's changed because these neighborhoods are not majority black anymore. So now this neighborhood that used to have a black city councilman now got a white city councilman. And this area over here that used to have all black constituency now got Hispanic over here. Kenner, which is a suburban area of New Orleans, has the largest population of Hispanics in the entire state of Louisiana. That was not like that before Hurricane Katrina.
Bro, you ever been in New York City? You ever been in New York City?
Oh, yes. Harlem going through the same thing.
When you see a white lady jogging through Harlem, let me just tell you,
Lenox Avenue don't even look like the same Lenox Avenue no more.
You see the white people walking their dogs through the Magnolia Project.
Absolutely.
Or in D.C., a white lady walking her dog at Howard University and the dog taking a crap on Howard University lawn. I was livid.
And she didn't have a little baggie with her?
No.
You know,
hey.
I want to mention in that same questioning and answering that question that a lot of us had to go into survival mode.
Yes.
And, we did the Haitian food crawl in May this year, and so many light bulbs went into my head because my family, we lost everything in New Orleans. Like, I grew up in the East, and it's been 20 years since Hurricane Katrina, and the East still hasn't got back on its feet.
No, it's not back.
It's not back, and it's been 20 years. So you're in a situation, no matter what your socioeconomic status is, you lost everything, and you literally have to pick up, make a decision, and get moving because you can't go back home. We were not allowed to even know what happened to our home for 3 months. So imagine for 90 days, you're like, did we lose everything? Did we not lose anything? What do I need to salvage? Is there anything I can salvage, or am I starting from scratch? A lot of us were in that situation. I literally left my house with my passport, my laptop, and clothes for 2 days. That was it. And I had just graduated from college, and I had to pick up and start from scratch. And when we did the food crawl in May, some of the light bulbs that came out was that, we still have a job at building community. Like, there was, for the first time, what happened, you had pre-Katrina New Orleans Haitians and post-Katrina New Orleans Haitians in the same space. And then you had African Americans, we had some Asians, we had some Hispanics, we had some Francophone people. We had all like New Orleanians in the same space honoring our Haitian heritage through food. And it was like, you felt like this explosion of, oh, my people, I haven't seen you in so long. I even, in my survival mode, I forgot you, and I'm sorry. And I'm so happy that we're here together. Like, there was that feeling in that moment, in that space. We were together in Treme at the New Orleans African American Museum. So it speaks to what this gentleman is asking. Where was the leadership? We were hurting. everyone was hurting, including the mayor. Like, the mayor showed up, but he wasn't like 100% Negan. He was like, shit, survival mode Negan. So many people had to flip into survival mode. And so many people came in and took advantage of the city, of our weak point.
Weakness, yes.
And we still haven't figured it out 20 years later.
People was able to get loans for houses. They was getting low interest loans for houses from people from out of town, when people who lived in their house all their life. Grandma gave them the house. Couldn't get a loan to fix their own house.
How many of us wanted to go? Corey, let me ask you, how many of us wanted to go back, whether it was DC, New Orleans, Baltimore? Regime, what I see a lot of times is, I'm just going to keep it 100. When we get that nice job and we move beyond the Beltway and then we move out to suburbia, I don't think we really want to take Keisha back to West Baltimore. But I'll say that girl.
That's important to talk about, bro. That's an important issue to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have kids, you got to think about it. Do you want them living in that environment? So it's a thing about the environment that has to change, and that's our responsibility. So it's, in some ways, when you see the gentrification, you're upset, but in some ways you have to respect it because it's nicer. Let's be honest. It's nice.
I'm gonna tell you what I don't like.
You wouldn't walk through that Magnolia. You wouldn't walk through that Magnolia.
I don't like West Baltimore inundated with white addicts after Nancy Reagan told us to just say no. I'm not used to seeing white addicts in my alley talking about you got some spare change. I feel furious because your orange man president then empowered these people. And then he ran.
Man, stop that, man. That man dead. So you trying to tell me it was no white addicts before Donald Trump?
No, it wasn't. 2010, we didn't.
I seen white addicts in Baltimore during Obama.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Them white addicts was out. The drug caught everybody. Stop it. Drugs caught everybody. The good thing is the black addicts has reduced. Let's celebrate that. The black addicts reduced. So says the black addicts.
I like the way you stated that. I like the way you said
the black addicts has reduced, so the white addicts are more pronounced. The white addicts used to be there. It just used to be so many black ones you ain't used to see them. Now the black addicts reduced. Now the white addicts is more pronounced. That drug thing was the same.
Donnie, let me say this about the migration after Hurricane Katrina of New Orleanians going to other places. I will say this, the majority, I'm going to say the vast majority wanted to come back. They really did. But when you got to realize this city was shut down for months. It wasn't like a week later or 2 weeks later, everybody come back home. No, it was shut down for months. It was a long time before certain areas even had power. You can literally go down the street at night and go, hey, and you would hear the echo, hey, hey, hey. It was just that. It was dark, very, very dark. Street lights not coming on. No, it took a long time for the streetcars to even start working again. I mean, there were no grocery stores. There were no gas stations. It took a lot. Many people did want to come back, and they tried. They waited. They tried, and they waited. They would come back and see it still was no power, no way to make money, no way to eat. And they would come back again 3 or 4 weeks later and they check, and it still was nothing. All of a sudden, they get a job in Atlanta. All of a sudden, their kids are enrolled in school. Time is gone. Right. Their kids are in school in Houston now, and now they got a job in Houston. They got a job in Atlanta, and they're like, okay, I really do want to go back, but my kids are in school now. These people have found me a good little house. FEMA gave me a little money. I got a new job over here. And so you start moving on with your life. That's why Houston now is called Hugh Orleans, and Atlanta is called it's called Hugh Orleans and New Atlanta, because half of Atlanta now is New Orleans and half of Houston is New Orleans. And here we say here that Houston and Atlanta are our cousins. Houston and Atlanta are our cousins because Houston and Atlanta really embraced New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. A lot of our residents were forced to go to one of those two cities, and we went everywhere, but those two cities had the highest migration of New Orleanians after Hurricane Katrina. And a lot of them didn't want New Orleans people there. There were fights of people not wanting New Orleans there. The city council didn't want to provide funds and resources. But people went through a lot during that time. And, in America, we sometimes get selective dementia. about what we just went through. I tell people all the time, do y'all realize just 4 years ago we were on lockdown? It ain't been that long. People have already forgotten we were wearing masks just 4 years ago. Couldn't go to restaurants, couldn't go here, and everybody was miserable. Imagine how you felt during COVID where you couldn't leave out of your house and you couldn't go do this and couldn't go do that. Well, imagine how an entire city feels when they can't even go to their house. They can't even come back to the street their kids were raised on. The families are all over the world, separated. They don't even know where their families are because the cell phones were in the water somewhere. They don't even know how to get in contact with their own kin people. Sometimes we forget just how catastrophic Hurricane Katrina was. These people had to pick up and move on, and they will always love New Orleans. They will always have New Orleans in their heart, but sometimes life just goes on. Life just moves on. When football season starts, if you're in Atlanta when the Saints play the Falcons, it's going to look like a Saints home game. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. It's going to look like a Saints
home game. I'm glad
game.
you mentioned that because I've been trying to get an answer to this. What does who that mean?
Who that say it ain't gonna beat them Saints?
Who that, man? You don't know what who that.
It's
you know what the word who mean?
Who?
You know what who mean, right? Who? That mean whoever. Who you talking about? That could be anybody. You say who that?
And Baltimore we tried to be very helpful. Whatever Corey asked, we did. Wasn't no stuff there.
Yeah, we in Baltimore hey, let me tell you something. The people from New Orleans that came to Baltimore, came to Maryland, my family who came, especially in Howard County gave them 1 year free housing.
That's nice.
Now that was 1 year free housing. So you got a year to find out what you want to do. You ain't got to work. And they were constantly, people find out they was constantly giving them stuff, food or whatever they thought they might need. They was very, very, very helpful and accommodating. But I can't say they did not get the rush. They did not get the rush that Houston and Atlanta got. Houston and Atlanta got an invasion. So it was an invasion, and then when they invaded, they went to war for a little while, and then finally it settled down, and they picked their side where they're going to be at, and they're going to pick their side where they're going to be at, and then they learned to get along somewhat. But you know how New Orleans people are. You know what I mean? I tell you, one of the perfect examples was that Boondocks episode with Lil Wayne, and they came from New Orleans after Katrina and lived with Lil Riley and them on the Boondocks. They was having fun at first. They said, hold up, y'all gotta go.
You overstaying your welcome, boo.
Y'all got time for y'all to go. And I'm sure a lot of people got overwhelmed and it was time for you to go. But the people who actually settled in and found new jobs, it made me, it was a split feeling. Sad that my people lost their thing, but I was happy that because some of those people would have never left New Orleans a day in their life. And right now they got good jobs, good houses, kids got a better education. Man, so it did good for a lot of people. It did bad, but it also did good.
I want to wrap this up. There was a common theme that I have heard, and it's love, it's respect. Regine, why don't you take us on home?
All right, let's see. So when we think about New Orleans, we have people from New Orleans, no matter how many years you spent there, you learn how to love, okay? And it's this balance of power and love, right? I'm going to quote Adam Kahane, because in his book, he talks about when you have too much power, you become dominant. When you have too much love, you get taken advantage of. So I think in New Orleans, we've learned to cultivate this balance of when you need to assert yourself, which is the power, and then when you need to just be love and be loving and be kind. And through that process, this is where respect for the other really develops, because you get to see when people show up and how they show up. And this is something that's developed and cultivated over time. So New Orleans is this special city where we're constantly faced with challenges, and you get to see how people show up with either power or with love and the respect that's developed within the community. How is that?
That was good.
Hey, Ro, how can people stay abreast of your media empire? How can people follow you?
So I have an app, and you can go to your app store. You can go to Apple, the app store on Apple. I don't speak Apple language. I'm an Android person. You know what I'm saying? I don't belittle myself and stoop that low to speak that language. All sin begin with Apple. So even in the Garden of Eden, it was a fruit that messed the world up. You know what I'm saying? So all sin began with Apple products. But no, if you got an iPhone or if you have an Android, you can go to your app store, the app store with Apple and the Play Store with Android. Look for Parlay, Parlay. Put a period behind it, Parlay period, and that's my app. We have I have my radio station on there. Just everything I do is on there, but Parlay has become a network of people all over the country, actually the world. We have a huge Johannesburg representation on it as well, and Nigeria because of the radio station. But I would just say this. I always try to remind people, man, find the little God in you. Find some God in you. Find some type of humility in yourself and humanity to actually invest that back into humanity. Sometimes I don't do what I do because I want to do it. I do what I do because I feel there's an obligation. There's a responsibility to do these things. I'm pretty sure Regine, sometimes she's tired, but there's a responsibility to do what we do. We are all we got. We really are. We are all we got. I don't believe in bashing nobody, tearing nobody down. Look, when I go to Baltimore, I got friends in Baltimore. When I go to Chicago, I got friends in Chicago. And those people, they welcome me like I'm from there. They cook, take me from the airport, everywhere. We really are a community. And sometimes we forget that. It don't matter if you're in the north, the south, the east, or the west. The black community is a real community. And it's that outer oppression that brings us together. Because we know it doesn't matter if you live in New Orleans or if you live in Atlanta or if you live in Chicago or Baltimore. Guess what? We're all going through the same oppression. We're all going through the same situations, and we all we got. So even if we go at each other on social media, at the end of the day, we love each other, man. It is beautiful to be black. That melanin is so powerful. It is such a beautiful thing to be born black and get to live as a black person in this day and time. It's an honor.
Corey's my brother from another mother. His daddy took me to Africa, and that's all it is. And he can talk all the smack he wants. Just give me some gumbo with some meat in it. That damn vegan. You tricked me, boy.
Hey, if the trick worked, do you really need the meat?
Maybe not, but can I just try and choose for myself?
You didn't know what it was.
I'm so proud. I'm proud of all of you, and I thank you. And anytime you come to Baltimore, crab soup and crab cakes on me.
I'm coming.
Jumbo lump. That's the only way to fly. They give you some special
jumbo lump. Huh?
You tell them, take it back. We don't want it.
To Baltimore.
No tea. Baltimore.
I skipped it. No, I skipped the T.
But there's something there, though. It's like, who that? Baltimore.
But before we close out, I want to say, don't forget Revive IET. I see we have quite a few listeners. Big Brother Chris has been giving us messages throughout, and lots of folks. So thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Visit www.revive, REVIVE-IET-AYITI.org. It's written in Creole, in Haitian Creole. So don't forget, so that we can enrich in the American narrative with New Orleans and Haiti.
That's how you pronounce it?
Hey,
Revive IET. Oh, look at this cutie. That's
I got my grandkids for the summer.
You a granddaddy? Look at you.
Grandpa, look at that.
That's no crack.
You having fun with Pop.
Corey, you actually look young. I thought that was your daughter. I thought that was your baby, boy.
No, that's 70 years old. He the fool, y'all. He got greases in his head.
Hey, that's that vegan jerk chicken he got. And them vegan got him looking young, man.
That's that gumbo he keep talking about.
Pronounce that one more time. Revive
IET.
Revive IET.
Correct. So that's how you spell it originally in the native Haitian language. So the native Indian, if you want to call it, the Amerindians, IET.
And for the record, what is an Indian? An indigenous person?
Correct. It's probably not the best term, Indian, thanks to our previous colonizers, but it's the real natives of the island.
Because we know Columbus was lost. We know that a black man actually led him to this part of the world. And we know Columbus was a thief on top of all of the other criminal acts he performed, including genocide. Ro, I'm proud of you. You taught me, because that lady came up and asked, I didn't have no cash on me. And you showed me how to handle a special person, because she was a little special. Because I don't care where you from, Baltimore, New Orleans, Brooklyn. You know when somebody get ready to crack on you. And Regine, she came up with this long story. She said, I'm a shaman. She had a little thing, a little dot on her head and all of that.
Somebody was giving birth to a child and they needed help for. I'm like, babe, hey, what do you need?
He shut it down. Just your cash app.
I don't need your story, your theatrics.
Oprah episode. Just tell me what you need. Well, I need food. I said, okay, that's all you had to say. You know,
get to the point.
You showed me, Ro.
And honestly, I can't take all the credit for that because Corey would have done the same thing. Corey would have told her, come on inside and get something to eat. You know, I mean, I've seen him do that with other people, you know, so, I mean, it's just.
Been back.
Put a plug in for your restaurant.
She's been back. The shaman has the shaman has been back. It's been a different story this time. The shaman brought a shaman with her. She has a shaman with her, another shaman with her.
Oh, she brought her cousins.
Listen.
Thanks, Brother Chris.
She's brought another shaman with her, and they want to do death readings and all kinds of stuff for sandwiches.
Oh, okay. Well, she's trying to work for it now, so that's okay.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So,
but give a shout out to Two Fat Vegans.
Yeah, can she wash dishes?
Well, what? Yeah, can the shaman, maybe she gets some of the people she talking to help her washing dishes.
I don't want to hang out with them.
He's talking about the dead people she talking to.
Yeah.
I gotta say this, bro. This on a serious note. I felt the ancestors in New Orleans. I felt similar in Richmond. You go past this tree where you hear they did a lot of lynching, but I heard the story of the insurrection in New Orleans where they placed people's heads on spikes all the way to the city. So I feel that spirit in New Orleans. I know the ancestors are talking to me in a bunch of languages. They're screaming like black people, wake up.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us, and a beautiful morning to you all.
Thank you for having us, Donnie. Really appreciate you.
All right.
Good morning,
Ashe, my brother. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe.